Hi, I'm Elliot, a writer, and I am typing out The Great Gatsby. Why? Because that was something Hunter S Thompson did, because he wanted to see what it would be like to write a masterpiece. Now that I have some time on my hands, I figured it would be a good opportunity to give it a shot myself. So, please join me every Saturday until I finish the whole novel. Welcome back to another episode of me, Elliot, typing out The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't want to do this. I do not want to do this right now. I've had a long week. This has been a long week. And it's going to be a busy weekend. It's going to be a busy weekend of writing. I've entered this screenplay writing contest. And so I got to do that this weekend. But first I got to do this. And I've also had a week at work. So it's been a lot going on. And I'm having a beer while I'm doing this, as a sort of transition between my weekday and weekend, my professional work and my personal work. They're all kind of bleeding in together. And none of it is suffering. They're all going really good, and I'm incredible, and I'm able to accomplish all of this, and at no point am I stressed or tired or fatigued. I don't feel burnout at all. I am just going with the momentum, and I know that at the end of all of this, it's gonna be great, and I get to reap the reward. So it's all about just showing up, taking it one step at a time. What is it? Like a journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step. It's funny, I think about that quote often, and then I also think of like how many steps I've already taken, and I'm like, fuck, step 3,451 is as hard as step number 1, you know? It's like each step is its own challenge. It's not like, the first step, done. It's like, you gotta keep taking steps. Every step is as important. The first step is important, yes, but step 5,786 is still important. It doesn't matter how far you've come. If you stop now, none of it really matters. You just kind of die in this like random place. And I think about that sometimes. It's like, man, I shouldn't have even started at all. I shouldn't have even done this at all. And that is why I'm having a beer right now. Just to get through, just to take this extra step. Don't do it all the time. But sometimes it really helps to take that next step. And I'm definitely feeling it right now. Definitely feeling it. So everything is still happening in the world. All the problems that have existed months and weeks ago are still present. It seems like people are trying to adapt to it as much as possible. You're doing what they can. They're doing what they can. I'm doing what I can too. There's certain things that are out of my control. There's certain things that are in my control. And just trying to continuously voice my feelings on my end if anything is making me uncomfortable. So that's how I'm dealing with all of it. Anyways, that's a lot to start with, right? A lot for this episode to start with. Episode 12. Can you even believe it? Can you believe it? And my dog is just walking around. He's having a drink of water. That's what you're hearing in the background. Okay, let's get started on the typing. Good. I'm not even sure what is happening anymore. Dang, Mikey, you thirsty. The funny thing about my dog, before we get started, is he doesn't like take a sip every once in a while and be like, oh, I'm refreshed now. He kind of gorges himself. He's like, he waits till he's completely dehydrated and then just goes all out and chugs a whole like liter of water. That's kind of his style. Okay, so last week we left off on the tail end of chapter 3. We're almost done chapter 3 now. And we're starting, no, we're not starting. We're starting, I forgot what happened. It was kind of, last week was a blur. I'm not gonna lie. He's in New York. Nick Carraway is in New York. He had some relationships. Now he's talking about Jordan Baker. Let's just go. Oh, I don't even know what our intention is this week. I feel like our intention this week is just to get through this episode. Just to get through this week. Let's just type freestyle, and if anything comes up, I'll acknowledge it, and maybe any interesting words. That's always fun. Vocabulary. That's simple enough. Any vocabulary that I'm not familiar with, I could check it out. That seems easy. Let's do that. Let's go with the easy stuff. When things are hard, go with what's easy. That's my motto. Affectations. Jeez. Or that. Whew, that's a long paragraph. I'm ready. I'm already exhausted. Newspaper. With an S. Ooh, scandal. So Jordan Baker might be cheating in golf. I think that is what Nick Carraway is trying to communicate with me without flat out saying it. Incurably dishonest. Insolent smile. This is a long page. This is a long page. I feel like I've been doing this forever now. Haven't said anything in a while. I wish I had something to say. Really. She's dishonest and a bad driver. Two qualities to look for in a woman. It's weird. This is a weird way to kind of end end a chapter that had so much action in it. I find this kind of strange. This is almost more of a Jordan Baker type of chapter than it was a Jay Gatsby chapter, wasn't it? People out in the hall. Ooh, where am I? I actually believe that to be true. When you're driving, you should always assume everybody is super stupid, very aggressive. Expect the worst in people, is what I'm trying to say. When you're driving, expect the worst in people. That is the best way to be a safe driver. To be a pessimistic driver. That's not what she's doing. That is not her frill. She's very optimistic. She thinks people are going to, make way for her. She's gonna get into an accident. This might be foreshadowing. Do you think this is foreshadowing? I think this might be foreshadowing. That's interesting. Remember this. I know the story has something to do with a car accident. I don't really remember. I think I'm a careless person, with certain things. Certain things I'm careless. Certain things I'm very careful. Things where people can get hurt, I try to be as careful as possible. Things where I know no one could get hurt, I'm careless. Be careless with things where people can't get hurt. That's how you discover new stuff. What's going on? Now they're vacuuming the hall. That's what you're hearing. It's been a very busy day, all over the place. I really feel, how some people are just like, I need to wait for the perfect condition to work. I wish I had that luxury, I wish I lived in a world where I could just kind of disappear for a while, have like a separate room to work. I don't. It's always noisy. It's always crazy. There's always things happening. Social media is happening. Real world is happening. And I think what it's taught me is how to concentrate during all this craziness. I'm clearly distracted right now from what I'm supposed to be doing, but to learn to not have the perfect environment be the only setting where you could work, to be able to work in. I used to write in like busy coffee shops. I used to work there's a few times I actually had to like write in my car when I was doing freelance journalism, just in between like meetings, and I had deadlines. There were times where I just had to like write in a car in between two interviews where I had also a deadline due that day. That experience taught me a lot about just adapting to my environment to get the job done. It was probably not the best thing I've ever written, but you do what you can. That's what I'm saying. It's like thousands of little steps, right? And every step is on like different terrain, and the environment is different, and we always think about the first step. It's like the first step out of your door is probably like a really easy, casual step. It's like the further you go, things get actually harder. It's like hiking, you get more tired. So when motivational speakers talk about, it's like all you need to do is take the first step, it's like, no, you kind of need to take like thousands and thousands and thousands of more steps after that. So just spilled on my computer here. This is a mess. This episode's a mess. I don't even know where I am. Yeah, spilling. Like I have a party foul, right? It's all wet here now. My environment, my working environment. Kind of gotta deal with that. Can't control it. It's like can't control the weather, but you still gotta go out and live your life. Oh, nice. Nick. Very introspective couple pages here. Last paragraph of the chapter. Whew, what a statement. What a statement. I mean, everybody thinks they are honest, good people, right? It's hard to really see yourself as someone who, like, inherently lies a lot. I know a lot of people who lie a lot, who brag a lot, who, manipulate the truth. Just add a little bit, sprinkle a little bit more, stuff on it to make the story a little bit more interesting, or you keep telling the same story over and over again and it kind of morphs, it becomes something grander than it actually was. I mean, memory is an interesting thing because it changes in your mind. Over time, your recollections of events change, colors of shirts, the smell in the air. Actually, I think senses is kind of like the anchor to memory. If you can associate something with a scent, a sense, not a scent, then it's easier to like go back into your mental dictionary and see and like actually relocate it. What am I saying? All right, chapter 4. How did we get here? I don't know if I'm even ready for chapter 4. Let's take a little break for a moment before we get started on that, and let's do a Fitzgerald fun fact. I'm like taking deep breaths and breathing. It's like this has been a workout. This day has been an exercise. Okay. So every week I bring to you a new, well, not new, a well-researched fun fact, whether about F. Scott Fitzgerald or the novel Great Gatsby itself, or anything associated with the Great Gatsby. That's what we're here for. Did you know the Great Gatsby was partially inspired by a French novel called Jesus. I practice saying this too, but here we go. Les Grands Milonaises. Jeez. Anyways, it translates to The Wanderer and the Lost Estate. So The Great Gatsby was inspired by this French book, and it was written in 1913. Wow. There you go. Super fun fact of the day. You saw me try to... If you thought I struggle with English, oh man, just wait until you hear me try to speak in another language. Language is tough. It's really tough. People think they're good at it, but like point a camera at yourself and then just try to like talk, and then you realize how bad at talking you really are. Some people are naturally gifted at it. I am not one of those people. I work really, really hard to articulate my thoughts in a clear, concise manner. I practice saying that a lot. It's like my mantra. It reminds me of what I'm doing, which is easy to forget. It's easy to forget. I also love that if you just point a camera at yourself long enough, you could literally see yourself having an existential crisis, especially with something like this. Like if you're going to a class or something and you just like aim a camera at yourself and then watch how you behave in just like a social environment where you have to kind of act like you're normal. Because when you're just relaxing without a camera on you or without any sort of like record of any kind, you could kind of just be yourself. You can lounge around. You could be as, casual or disgusting as you are. But all of a sudden, when you know that there's someone observing you, you kind of have to put on this persona, become this person. And then once that happens, your brain is like, what is going on? Why are you behaving this way? Why? Just like, chill, be normal. And then it's like, what's normal? Am I not normal? Is this not normal? Should I be behaving differently? And all that is happening inside, bottling up inside. And there, yeah, that's me vocalizing what is going on in my brain right now. It's that, just like that. So if you want to discover what it's actually like to be a human, to be you, just point a camera at yourself and just during the course of the day, just act normal. See yourself in your own natural habitat, trying to be normal. Because what does that even mean? What does that even mean, right? It's like you could watch yourself and you could give yourself notes. It's like that right there. You're not normal there. You're being weird. But what does that even mean? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, chapter 4. Let's get started. I don't even know what's going on right now. I haven't really found any words that are like super new that I felt the need to like, I really don't know this word. I need to know this word. None of that yet. Wouldn't it be great to just one day be so smart that you know every word there is? The thing is, once you become that smart, you can't really use those words with people still because they don't know it. And if they don't know it, then they'll think you're just making up words, right? You kind of have to, once you level up your vocabulary, you kind of like need to level up your social, the people you communicate with. And kind of have to do that, right? It's like if you make more money, you can't really hang out with the people with less money because they can't really relate to you anymore. That's the same thing with language and vocabulary, really. Just a thought. Just a thought. So is it actually better to have a bigger vocabulary? I like to think so, but just be careful how you use it, right? Oh, come down. Oh, it's no longer indenting. Sorry, it's like it's bothering me. So Nick is just keeping track of people who visits Gatsby, which seems like a weird thing to do. I would never stalk my neighbor. I wouldn't be interested. Even if I lived next to, I don't know, Cuba Gooding Jr., I wouldn't care who was visiting him, no matter how many parties he throws. Black Bucks, who? I hate this paragraph so much. This is now my least favorite paragraph in the whole novel so far. I'll explain why I dislike it. First, let me fix some typos I see. I get what Fitzgerald's kind of doing here, and I get what Nick, like, I sort of get the purpose of it is to show that, oh, Gatsby he has all these friends, he's well-known people, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a big fan of just, like, listing off names and then kind of, like, giving them, like, a little kind of quirky trait for a reason to remember them, because I never remember them. This is just, like, empty information for me. It's like, I don't enjoy reading this. I don't enjoy reading just, like, a list of names. Like I said, I get the point of doing it, but honestly, maybe it's just me, because I have such a hard time coming up with names for my own. So I hate it when other people are able to, like, casually just list out names. And I'm like, get out of here. That's showing off your name making abilities. Who do you think you are? For me, it would just be like, the Smith, the Johnsons, Sam Smith, Eric Johnson, Jack Johnson. Yeah, I don't know. This is not I don't like this paragraph. One thing that is interesting about this paragraph, it's a redeeming quality of it, is that like looking at it now, he could have easily just went this person, these groups, but it's done in an interesting way where there is, if you look at it, each sentence is kind of structured differently. It has a rhythm to it, even though it breaks and it starts with and it starts with and again. However, like the things that I mention is like first these people, this person, a little bit more detail, little bit more detail there, and it kind of goes the same way. It's like these two people, or rather, blah blah blah, a little bit of information, and then one more person, and then a little bit more information. So not every name gets the same amount of attention to it. Some of them are just kind of like, yeah, these guys, they're cool. But others, they're like, there's something interesting to them. So I suppose if this is something that you want to do, if like you need to list off a bunch of people, maybe it's not a good idea to give everybody, like, it would be exhausting if they were like Chester Becker, blah blah blah, the Leashes, blah blah blah, Dr. Webster Civet, blah blah blah. But rather create a pattern to it, a rhythm to it, and that it kind of then it becomes like a musical. It adds a musical element to it that makes it more pleasurable to read. It was not pleasurable to type, but maybe if I was just reading it, it would have been more fun. That's something. That's something, right? Oh, it keeps going. There's more. There's more people. Some episodes here and there, there's a lot of dialogue, and when there's dialogue, I feel like when I'm typing it out, it moves faster, obviously. But when it's just these long chunks, these episodes, they're tougher to do, and can't control that. Oh god, this is killing me. What even is happening? This is, I feel like I'm doing data entry right now. Thank God I have this beer. What's it? Oh. Oh. Yeah, this is not a fun opening to a chapter. Like, I haven't really criticized this book in a while. I've only said a lot of nice things. I'm approaching it with the intention to learn from it. So I'm kind of respecting every choice there is and asking why each choice is made. And I kind of see. Am I missing a word? How to find, yes. And I kind of get it. It's showing the sort of I suppose friends that Gatsby has, or Gatsby invites over, and there's a lot of them. He's a very popular guy. But God, this is like, you can't expect any of this stuff to stick. And then so you ask yourself, what's the point of even writing? What's the point of writing this stuff? It reminds me a lot of the like the first 2 chapters of Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, when Bilbo Baggins is at his party, his 111th birthday party, and he's just listing all his neighbors and friends and relatives that have come to celebrate with him. Some of them have funny names, but in this moment right now, I can't remember them at all. One of them is like feet, like some proud feet. That's all I got. Let's keep moving. Try to get through this. It kind of keeps going. It just keeps going. Listing off people. Why? I want to do my my like speed typing thing, but these are all like names, and I don't think I would do a good job with that. It just keeps going. Just like pages and pages of names. This is, I was enjoying this whole typing The Great Gatsby thing until this episode right now. But I guess what it's showing me is that this is acceptable. This is acceptable in literature. Just list of names. I'm really impressed by Fitzgerald's ability to kind of, The Great Gatsby seems like a very simple book, a very thin book, not very long. But by doing something like this, where it creates all these characters and talking about the different neighborhoods and all the people within it, you can tell that Fitzgerald has done some world building. He's created the whole relationship. It's like Game of Thrones or something. And if he really wanted to, he could create this page, this like family tree type of page, where all the relationships between each character and what they are, the different houses. If he wanted to expand the story and make it like an epic, he could, but I think this is what's happening right now, is showing the reader that, okay, this story could be huge. The story can be huge with a lot of different subplots and a lot of relationships interacting, but just gonna focus on this part. We'll give you like a bit. There's more going on. There's like side characters happening. There's Don S. Schwartz, the son. So it shows that there's more to it. This is actually like a really big thing, and it feels, I guess, as much as I am hating it right now, I respect perhaps the thought and the planning and the actual coming up with these names and actually thinking about the world they're living in, this like West Egg world. And yeah, it's just, I respect it. I'm not enjoying it, but I respect it. Like, that could be a story. The Muldoons. That could be an interesting story of him strangling his wife. Fascinating. And it's just being thrown in along with everything else. It's like, yes, this world, these people he is meeting are like rich and corrupt, and they're all kind of associated with each other in some way. But we're not going to get into it. None of the stuff we'll get into. It's just a little taste. And I suppose by doing this, you get a little bit of impression of the society that they're living in, right? And I actually like the nicknames. To add nicknames is like an extra thing to put in, and I think it breaks up the rhythm a bit, like we were talking about, how to make this a little bit more interesting to read. Definitely a style. Definitely took, I would feel Fitzgerald brought a bit of his own life into it, and it's like people he met in normal day-to-day life. I like to think this is what's happening, and he's like, I want to add this person to the story, but hey, it doesn't fit in anywhere. I'm just gonna make them this, like, you know, loose character that is just mentioned very loosely, and I'll give him a nickname: Rotgut. James B. Rotgut Ferret. And it's almost like he just heard of a bunch of names that he liked, and it's like, I'm just gonna add this to this book. I'm just gonna add it to the book. I'm gonna find a place where all these funny names can live, and they won't really be part of the plot, but I'm gonna squeeze them in there somewhere because they might be fun to read. Not fun to type, but fun to read, perhaps. Oh, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. I don't think there will be a right time to do my speed typing thing, or a nice, perfect moment. So I'm going to do it now, because that is keeping up with tradition of this show. What I'm doing is each week I set a timer for 1 minute and see how many words I could type in that 1 minute. Last week I broke my record, personal record. I think I got 72? I don't fully remember. I was trying to beat 70 and I did it, I believe. Yeah, watch the last episode to find out. And so I think a new goal can be 75 words per minute. It sounds achievable. I don't know how I'll do with this section, but let's give it a shot. All right. It's a lot of names here. Oh no. It's not kidding. All right, it's not going well. Whew. Oh man, this is a mess. Let me just make sure the words I typed. Border, yes. O'Donovan is spelled the way it is spelled, yes. Mr. Duckweed has an extra E. We won't count that. Francis, I messed up, so we won't count that. So we'll -2. This one is also, well, -3. Well, -3 words from this. Still looks pretty good, actually. Oh, it's pretty bad. So 53. 53. I'm very honest about how I approach this typing really fast thing. I'm not trying to impress anybody. This is actually just what I'm capable of doing. And I encourage you to see how quickly you can type sometimes. So the performance, there's variables to how well you perform with these type of things. Definitely the source material that you're typing, that could really influence your speed, obviously. Names in general, they are hard to spell. They're not usual words that you use. That's the thing. It's like doesn't register in your brain, and words, they tend to be spelled differently for different reason, different people. And yeah, that's all I have to say about names and how to spell them. I mean, just think about the people you know and how weird their name is spelled. This has been a weird start to a chapter. One of the weirdest start to a chapter. I mean, it's very different. It's very different. Okay. There's a couple more paragraphs in this. I want to finish it, and then I'll wrap up this video. I'm just gonna focus on getting through this. That way, next week, we can start on a fresh foot. A new step, a cleaner step. You don't want to start in mid-step somewhere. Yeah. Sweet. It's very clear that Fitzgerald has a fascination with names. That's what's happening right now. Even Gatsby is a kind of interesting name, right? Nick Carraway is kind of like a bland, normal name. But he clearly is getting something out of his system with this whole part. It's like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have this in somewhere. It's really committing to it too. When I first wrote the first paragraph and it was just like names, I was like, okay, I see what you're doing there. But it just keeps going, and it's really like, it's committing to it, which, like I said, I respect that, because this is not easy to do. All right, that's that. What a fun way to end off that section. That was long. I think it really proved the point that Gatsby knew a lot of people. And because of that, I had to suffer through it, struggle through it. I wouldn't say suffer. It was a little bit painful. My leg is in pain. Sitting cross-legged for an hour all the time has not been good for me. Well, that's that. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Typing the Great Gatsby. This was a long one. It's annoying to scroll back and see how little you accomplished, but that was a lot of work typing all those stupid names. Need more. All right, so that's me. This is The Great Gatsby. For the first time in 12 episodes, I'm angry at Fitzgerald for putting me through that. But I can only imagine him sitting in a room trying to come up with all these names, putting them in order, editing it over and over again, going through that whole process. And he probably contemplated cutting it multiple times, kept it in there, was published with it in there. And all these names traveled great distance, over a long time, like 100 years now, to find its way to me, to this moment right here. Wow. Makes you think, right? These things have impact. These writing affects lives. Anyways, on that note, I will see you next week, hopefully. If nothing else changes. And we'll continue doing this thing we do, trying to get through. It's really not that long of a book, but it's because of days like today, it takes time. I'll see you soon.